And I was saying stupid things with you.
Record.
No, I haven't said anything yet, so it's fine. Now it's recording, I think.
Oh, recording.
That's why I didn't. Wait, yeah, see, I told you it automatically started recording.
Because no, mine just record.
Should I start now?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Let me share my screen with the people. Okay. Right. So I think I'll get started. Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. You know who I am, I think. Dr. Enakshi from School of English. Yeah, okay. So I wanted to have this session just to kind of talk about potential like careers that you can go into that are open based on like getting an English degree here and kind of skills that you need to develop for those things, right? Okay. So rough overview of this session. Yeah. So I want to discuss a couple of things. One, what kind of skills do you develop based on like English degree, especially the English degree here, right? Because English degrees in different places are going to be targeting different skills. So this one is a more general one, right? Then occupations, you can go directly into work using this transferable skills, and then ones where you need additional experience, training, qualifications. Of course, like it's not a complete list, right? I can't compile a list of all the jobs out there. And then we'll talk about how you can work towards developing these skills based on the time you have left here and extra things, right? Okay. Just give me a second. I think somebody's waiting to be. Oh, it's not working. Well, just keep going. Okay. So just something to think about right at the start. Like, what kind of skills have you developed so far in your English degrees? What kind of skills? And what do you think you will end up developing? Just to get this start. Any ideas? No ideas? Yes.
Presenting your ideas coherently.
Very good. So that is both. You presented that coherently.
Oh,
Excellent.
Thanks.
So that works for like written as well as oral, right? Anything else? Is that just like the one thing? Communication? Yeah. Yes. No.
Critical analysis.
Yes. Well done. Okay. I think we've plumbed the depths of that based on the enthusiasm. Okay. So, I mean, you know, like there's practicality, right? When you're going into the job market, there's so many people who have different like experience, qualifications, whatever. So it's kind of, it's important to know what is valued and kind of market yourself accordingly, right? So it isn't always about the qualifications, but the other things, the skills that you have, right? So these are, again, not an exhaustive list, but some of the main things that English degrees can help you develop, right? So it's not just about analysis, etc., of like literary works, but so it's like critical thinking, critical, like analytical skills and logical reasoning, right? Reading critically and then being able to identify credible sources, evaluating these sources of their reliability, value, evaluating arguments, right? So if if you've been doing everything right, like for example, students of English are really good at identifying propaganda. Yeah. Then there's writing, like academic writing, being able to write creatively, but also like writing for different purposes, right? And this is really helpful because it helps you communicate better. And then about, come in. So about constructing logical arguments and then backing up your arguments with evidence. And then also you learn how to present your arguments in creative ways, which are helpful not only in Twitter arguments, but also in real life. Yeah. So communication skills, as you said earlier, there's verbal, non-verbal, right? You learn a lot of things, and then also working with others. So there's a lot of like teamwork involved in the seminar tasks, etc., that you do. And another very important thing is the problem-solving skills that you develop, right? And then being detail-oriented, especially when it comes to like things like referencing systems, which you did with the year ones today. Surprised your brains are still like not melted. Then research skills, which are really, really important, and accessing information, knowing where to access your information, processing information, and then accurately communicating what you have gained, right? And organizing, storing information, which are all may not seem like much, but these are all really practical skills as well, right? Then there's also the less tangible skills, like the self-reflection, like when it comes to literary works, because you always get to see things from a different perspective. That's one of the wonderful things about being a student of literature, right? And it also helps you identify various important patterns, things like reading between the lines, and also empathy and understanding, right? So that helps you able to see and understand issues on a much deeper level, right? It helps you learn about context, like important context, and that means you end up with a heightened social, cultural, historical, etc., political awareness, right? Yeah. So, okay. So, but then you have the skills, but how do you use these to find a job, right? So one of the most important things about being an English student is that we're very adaptable, right? Because that adaptability is baked in, especially in this course, because you're doing so many different things. Whether you are a student of creative writing or not, you're still doing linguistics courses and literature courses. You have, not only in terms of the workload that you manage, but also the types of tasks that you have to quickly adapt to these new situations, right? And you also develop a lot of skills that are useful in multiple fields. So these are transferable skills. These are skills you can transfer to other fields. For example, your ability to communicate well can be very useful in a lot of things, right? I mean, I'm trying to think of examples, and all I can think of right now is politics, and I'm like, please don't. I mean, unless, but you know what? If you wanna, it's fine. But yeah, right? Okay. So potential occupations, this is a list that, again, it's not fully exhaustive, and I'm not going to sit and read everything out, right? But then I've been basic categorization. So first I'm looking at things you can go direct to work plus with your transferable skills. So when it comes to like here, there's like writing, education, publishing. So these are not organized in like a specific order. Like some of these more senior situations where you will have to work your way up. For example, going as an editor or publisher, likely not going to start off like that, but something that you can work towards, right? So when it comes to writing, like the creative writers, definitely you can go into being authors, poets, writing biographies, ghostwriting, So you can go through this kind of thing, and I will also make this available, right? It'll be available in the MS Teams chat, but also I'll just email it out, right? Yeah. So these are some ideas of what is like direct to work right after your degree, right? Using the skills that you have developed. Then there's more. There's marketing, social media, advertising, translation work, and then being a research assistant, analysis. Again, these are things that you can do based on the skills that you have developed, right? So again. I don't have to read them out, right? You can read. Thank you. Yeah. So like I said earlier also, like say content manager, that might be a position that you have to work up towards. But if it's like a startup, maybe then you could be getting in from the ground up and working as a manager. So there's that. Then again, there are other things that you can do. You can go into print and you can go into television, radio. Like, okay, I know I put print separately because there are some jobs related to print that are not applicable to television and radio. And you can go into performance arts. Then there's some other things that you can do based on the skills that you have developed, like, event planner, fundraiser, travel agent, information officer, again, because you do develop these research skills and the communication skills, right? Yeah. Then there are other things that you can do with added qualifications, training, like, experience, etc. Right? So policy making definitely is something that you can go into, but you will need more qualifications and potentially working somewhere as well, right? To get that experience that you need. Public relations, communications, HR. Then if you're going into like education, for example, to be a tertiary educator like me, you would need higher qualifications like PhD, right? And also qualifications in like a higher education like PGCHE, right? So there are all these different things that you can do. So for example, like being a curriculum developer or school counselor, again, there are other qualifications that you would need, added with training to kind of work on these things. Law is another one. I know that's there's multiple steps involved there, but it's doable. It's possible. You can do it. That's if you want to do that. Then again, writing, like, because in a lot of creative writing courses, screenplay writing is not really, screenwriting is not part of courses, right? A lot of the time. So that falls into like the more media kind of thing. Even for journalism translation, you can work on getting qualifications specifically for that, or go for training under somebody, right? Like an apprenticeship, although we don't call it that anymore. That was from Charles Dickens' time. Then again, like social media marketing, some of these, you can notice that I have repeated them, right? Some of these things, because again, there are added qualifications that sometimes in some places they would require you to get, and even if they don't require to get, for example, if you're going into let's say going into TV, like media, right? Maybe like as a news anchor, there's still things, that qualifications that you can get that will help you become a better news anchor, right? So again, there are multiple options. It really depends. In some of these cases, it really depends on the kind of place that you're applying to. Some places might be okay with throwing you right into like running like a little TV show, opposed to another place that might be like, you know what, we need you to have some sort of experience and something like that. I like that you just walked in with nothing. Wonderful. I strive for that. So yeah, definitely linguistics. You see one of our linguistics experts here, a linguist. So things like being a linguist, a lexicographer. What's a lexicographer? Why am I treating this like a class? Lexicographer, they put together dictionaries, right? Yeah, that's something that you can do. It's fun. You know that guy Samuel Johnson? You know that meme where this dude, he's just like at a book. That guy, he spent what, 8 years, 18 years, something like that, putting together the first dictionary. Yeah, he suffered, but that's something that you can do, right? Going into policy making, anthropology, things like that. Again, you can use the skills. These are connected, actually. Linguistics, anthropology, philosophy, like social sciences. Like these are like at the intersections of humanities and social sciences. So yeah.
Branches of the same tree.
Yeah. And there's also a lot of interdisciplinary work, you know. For example, let's say you're doing like you're in neurolinguistics or like psycholinguistics. So then you'd be getting qualifications in linguistics and also maybe in like psychology, neurology, something like that, because you're looking at language, but how it is produced inside the brain. You can't just get an MA in linguistics and a PhD in linguistics from the School of English and then go poking around inside somebody's brain. You could, but it's unethical. You could go to jail. Don't do it. Right? So there are things that you will need either added qualifications or maybe training somewhere as well, right? Internships, or like lower paid jobs sometimes, like starting positions that, yeah. Okay, again, library sciences. If you like to work with books, you can do a library sciences degree. There's urban planner, designer, which is really interesting. We had a talk, I think, last year with an urban planner. So her undergraduate degree was in English, and then she ended up in urban planning. So you can have these kind of shifts as well, unexpected things. We also have so later on for career talks, we also have, I mean, I'm not going to be talking all the time. We're going to have this lady who, she's a linguist. She's working in like natural, what is NLU? Natural language understanding. So she works with like AI models, like large language models like ChatGPT, etc. So that's her expertise. So we will have her talk in, I think, December. And then next year, I have somebody said who started with an English degree, a general English degree. Then they went for a master's in digital humanities in the US, can't remember the university. And now she is working as a technical writer for an AI company. So it's just like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's really interesting because you start in one place and then it's technical writing is a completely different thing. But the knowledge that she gleaned from the general English degree and then the linguistics knowledge, it really does help in other fields like IT. And also she used to teach before, so then that shift in the career also, I think that would be like a really interesting thing. And I'm also looking into getting somebody from advertising for the next the third talk, that will be the second one next semester. So he's a creative director of an established agency in Sri Lanka. Fun side thing he does is he's also a musician, but don't have to talk about that. Right. So that, yeah. So there's like, for example, translation. I didn't know before this that there are so many different types of translation, like interpreters, right? You have them specifically for conferences, then media, guide, medical, legal, public sector, literary, media. So many versions. So again, going into like translation qualifications and training somewhere, that will really help you do a better job, right? And then AI trainer is something that is really coming up with the age of AI, right? So if any of you are interested in linguistics, I know some of you seem to be a bit allergic to linguistics. We're gonna pretend that you're, yes, I see like yes nods, and Dr. Andrew is right here. I mean, computational linguistics, that sort of thing, like there's a lot of, it's a growing field. Linguistics is a growing field because there's always, if nothing else, there's always people talking and there's always plenty to study there. People will never stop talking. So we will have lots. We still haven't answered a lot of questions about how exactly, like, you know, is that a blueprint for language in the brain? You know what, maybe you can figure that out and tell us, right? And when it comes to AI, there's plenty of work to be done, right? So that's something that you can, you know, go into. Okay, now developing the skills that the job market values, right? So when you think of what is valued by employers, right? There's a lot of things. It's not just your qualifications, right? What kind of things do you think they do value? Other than not lying about your qualifications.
Experience.
Yes, that is a terrible thing that is there, yeah. But you know, if you look hard enough, like you know, you can. Oh, this is one other thing. If there is this job posting and it's asking you to, like, you know, you need not apply if you don't have experience. You know what? Just go for it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just do it. It's fine. Maybe there'll be. Just go for it.
Does it actually happen?
Huh?
Do they think you even you don't have experience?
Always worth a try. Sometimes they might. Yes.
Yes. My experience. I mean, I kind of and when I tried to go job and and then that I did back,
There's also research that shows even like there's a disparity between like men and women. Like women usually when they're applying for jobs, they feel like they only apply for the job if they 100% fit the profile of the person that they're looking for. Whereas men, they're fine with just so do that. Just go for it. You know, what's the worst that could happen? Maybe they'll send you an email saying sorry, not looking for this, or no response at all. It's fine. You gave it a go. Fine. It's always worth giving it a try, right? So it's not just the qualifications, but that's a set of like soft and hard skills that are very important. Especially the soft skills are really important. Okay, so generally soft skills meaning things that you need to work with other people. Unfortunately, whether you like people or not, you have to work with other people, which means you need to develop the skills to work with other people. So there's like interpersonal skills and then other skills that I've put together, right? So interpersonal skills like verbal and non-verbal communication, right? Then communicating your ideas effectively, which is a different thing, right? You have to make sure that what you're trying to say is actually passed to the other one. Having cultural awareness is really, really important because there's a lot of diversity and in attempts to be inclusive. And managing people, whether in a managerial role or not, it's very important to know how you can deal with various people, right? You can't use the same textbook approach to deal with everybody, right? Empathy, emotional intelligence is another important thing, right? Which is something you get out of studying literature, yeah? But you should put that to real world, yeah, practice. And then teamwork and leadership, like taking leadership roles is very, very important. That shows that you have the drive, right? And also teamwork, very important because a lot of the time you won't be working on your own, but you will be working with a bunch of other people. So you need to know how to work tactfully with other people and to manage conflicts that you have, right? And then other skills like critical thinking, research skills, critical reading, writing for different purposes. These are more practical skills that you need, like making presentations. You'll constantly be making, like, especially if you're going to like corporate fields, like you go into industry, you're always making presentations at meetings. And then problem solving is a very important thing as well. You need to figure out what works, like what is like financially feasible within the time frame, that sort of thing, right? Being practical in that sense. Managing your time, right? That will help you keep your sanity. And also within the workplace itself. It's not just about your work-life balance, but also within the workplace itself. You need to figure out how much weightage you should give to certain tasks, right? Public speaking, it comes with the presentation kind of aspect. Sometimes you need to be able to talk to a lot of people and you have to fake confidence if you don't have it, right? Yeah. Take it till you make it. It works. I'm telling you right now, it works. Having a professional attitude is really important. A professional is one of those words that is just like the word good. The definition is very subjective. Anybody who, it's described differently, but one is like making sure that you keep these boundaries, right? Work boundaries, you keep that separate. You make sure that you don't mix the personal with all of that. So these are things that are important. Of course, digital literacy at this point, 2023, if you don't have digital literacy, like basic things like, it's not just like, putting, like 20 years ago, you'd put like, I can use Microsoft Word, and that was a skill, and now people will laugh at you if you use that. There's like more advanced things that you're supposed to use, and there's basic understanding of things, especially if you want to go into like social media, should be very familiar with all the social media platforms that are important. And depending on who you're marketing to, who the product is being marketed to, like if it's corporate, then you should be familiar with things that work for corporate. Whereas when it's to like consumers, that is a whole other thing, right? Yeah. And then how do you develop these skills in your degrees? Any ideas? Through discussions. Now I'm just thinking of the last text that we did, and we did Castle of Otranto and Orinoco, which are Gothic. It's fine as lead. Yeah. Okay. So I know this is gonna sound like it's a repetition, but okay. Already your academic studies are going to give you these skills. I know I mentioned them earlier, so I'm not going to go through like in too much detail, right? But if you go through your work and you do the work right, then you are able to automatically develop these skills as well. For example, approaching various topics critically, right? Ability to analyze validity and logic, recognizing dishonest arguments, and reading a variety of texts, complex ideas, writing in different types of styles based on the purpose, right? For example, those of you who did year one, you had academic community where you did the portfolios, different types of writing, right? You had the persuasive and you had expository, etc., right? You're nodding, but you haven't done it yet. Yeah. Okay. So interpreting and inferring meaning, like these are all things that you can read afterwards, but these are things that you can develop if you're actually invested in your academic studies and you're doing it right. Like following the guidance from your module conveners, right? If you're hitting if you're hitting the module learning outcomes, you will be developing these skills, right? That's why even when I sent in talking about that generative AI session also, it was about making that distinction between how you can use it as a tool, as a resource, but in a way that doesn't hinder you developing your own skills, because you are still at this point where you are developing these crucial skills that you will need when you're going out into the job market, right? So that means not using shortcuts like generative AI to do those things for you, because that means you won't develop the skills, right? So again, this is just more things that you can develop if you're setting your mind to it and you're doing this properly. And considering that some of you are like second year and then also in masters, you would probably have some of these skills already, right? Like you have the ability to conduct research on topics, and you know how to identify valid sources, and you understand the ethical issues related to research, improved cultural awareness, and all these things, right? So through the work that you are doing, you are directly and indirectly developing the skills that you do need. It's just a matter of understanding that, like, it's kind of like, do I have these skills? To what degree? That sort of thing, right? So again, I've turned them into like little categories, right? So look, we're getting more abstract as we go on. Yeah. So, and then also non-academic work, it's also a very important part of your student life, right? I mean, I know it can be really difficult to get involved in a lot of other activities, but if you can, that's wonderful, right? So you can have clubs and activities. You can do some part-time work. If you are an international student, tread carefully. You can do freelance work, any professional development, personal development, just like courses online, right? Anything that helps you further develop these skills, for example, like digital literacy, which is very important. Then any kind of activism that you want to do, volunteering. For example, from like personal example, during my PhD, usually it's recommended that you, while you're writing your thesis, that you also publish research papers. Ask me how many papers I published.
How many papers have you published?
I always trust Jyoti to ask me. Yeah, it was 0. But you know why? Yeah, thank you. So many people were disappointed. I was like, what were you doing for 4 years? What I was doing was involved in rescuing and getting stray animals adopted, right? Yeah. And it's not wasted because you can put that in your CV. Yeah. And when I was part here, Dr. Shivani told me, well, that compassion, that's also very important. It's part of it. It doesn't have to be just the qualifications. A lot of the time, employers are looking for other things. They're looking for personality because they need to make sure that the person that they're hiring can also work with other people. Are they empathetic? Are they compassionate? Can they work in a team? These are very important. So if you have these extra activities, like volunteering, everything, put everything. Yeah. Okay. So through these kind of extra things, you can learn about like managing your time, working, like collaborating with other people, maybe even getting into leadership roles, right? You can also start your own thing, and that's also really cool, right? It doesn't have to be, you're just like making a massive change, but anything is pretty good, right? And if you're looking at like internships, etc., then you also have some experience working in a more professional environment, and that gives you some idea of what to expect, right? The corporate world. Yeah. So now I'm talking about how do you know what career you want to go into? How many of you have an idea of what you want to do? Yes, Nazmi.
Professor, I want to be a professor.
Yes. Yes, murderer. Prison, straight to prison.
We can't do that. Writer.
A writer, wonderful. Who else? I'm assuming everybody else has no plans then? No. Are you okay? Anybody else? There's nothing, like it's not funny. I'm not gonna laugh or anything. Honestly, be honest. No goals. You're too shy to say it to me. Yes.
If I could, I'll be a banker writer.
Cool.
I can reach that.
Yeah, definitely can. Anybody else?
Translator.
Oh, nice. Yes. What kind of translating do you want to do?
For books maybe.
That's pretty cool. Knowing a bunch of different languages is very, very helpful. And also, the type of language you know is good. Like I'm bilingual, but Sinhala is my mother tongue, useless. I can't do anything with it. No, but it's not in demand, Yeah. So, but definitely learning another language. You know a bunch of languages, put that in your CV. Just like have this. I don't know how many of you do this, but just have like a little sidebar thing where you can map in like your skills, right? So mine, I put also my research interest because I want to go into academia. So I put in my research interests on the side, and then theories and concepts that I am familiar working with. So then my specific research areas, and then my research interests, which are 2 different things. And then, you can, if you have the time and the self-reflection for it, you can put how good you are at it on like a sliding scale. I felt honestly a bit too lazy to do that because it's just like taking up so much time, but it's pretty good. Okay. Honestly, there's no one answer. This is it. Like you don't have to have all the answers right now. Okay. So the thing is, what works for you now, it won't be a good fit probably like say 2 years from now, 5 years from now, you want to do something else, and that's fine, right? That's fine. People change all the time, right? So, and the other thing that is very important is you don't have to stick to one career forever. Like my friend who is in teaching and then is now a technical writer, right? I tried marketing before and I realize I was in marketing and I hated it. Not because of the work. I loved the work because I was in branding, which means you get to come up with like just a whole brand identity. I was a chocolate brand. I was like, this is my purpose in life. This is why I was put on this earth. But working in that kind of corporate atmosphere, it can be really difficult because there's so much office politics. It's not for everybody. It's not for me. So you don't have to stick to one career also. You can always change, and it's never too late. Like you can be 50 and change, it's fine. This thing about having to have figured your life out in your like early 20s is a lie. Capitalist neoliberal lie. That's what that is. Do not listen to it. It's BS. Okay? It's okay to expand on the skills that you have, branch out, start over later on. It's totally fine. Do what you feel like, right? And like I said, it's okay to not know what you want right now. It's fine. Again, things change, and not knowing is perfectly acceptable and normal. A lot of people don't know what they want to do, okay? And right now you are in the process of developing a bunch of these different skills. You're still feeling your way out, right? It's not just developing these skills, but also figuring out what you like and what you are good at. So it's going to take some time, right? But figuring out what you want to do and what you can do, that will happen. That's going to happen. So it's fine. One of the things that you can do is to start by identifying what you're good at, right? And that's like, first thing, figure out what you like to do, because there's no point in doing things you're good at if you hate the hell out of it. Pointless. You will end up burning out, right? So it's the first step, like figure out what you like to do and then see what you can, if you want to write for games, yeah, totally do it. What's her name? Bernice? Bernice does it. Oh, Bernice had a talk. Yeah, she used to teach here. She taught creative writing here, studied creative writing. Now she writes for games in somewhere in Europe. We had a career talk with her like March 2023, yeah, which is like pretty cool. And also definitely recognize what you don't want to do. You don't want to do anything with math, cut that out, right? That's how I was like, for my PhD, I was interested in doing something with like literary linguistics. And then I love linguistics, but I was like, I'm not touching systemic functional grammar because it's wonderful. But I had worked on that essay like months ago, and then I had forgotten about it. So I was like, I have to start over again. And I was like, I really liked the idea, but then it wasn't for me. And then linguistics, I was thinking like social linguistics, I really like it, but I'm terrified of statistical software. Right? Struck me later that at PhD level, you can hire somebody else to help you with the numbers there. I did not know that, wish I had. But yeah, but that doesn't mean, linguistics is terrible and literary linguistics is terrible. No, it works for some people, it doesn't work for other people, right? It's just about figuring out what works for you. So based on my personal experiences, right? So I always I fell in love with reading books, and I really loved literature, and I knew I wanted to teach it, but then I needed a plan, right? So this is based on my experience, okay? Starting out by figuring out what exactly did I want? What kind of teaching did I want to do? Because there are so many types of teaching. I can teach little kids, I can teach middle school, high school, university, I can teach adults. Then there's teaching English for specific purposes like business, etc. So I tried out a bunch of different things, right? So it's like kind of figuring out what I was interested in, what I was passionate about, and what I was comfortable doing, and then also figuring out what I was good at. By the way, if you are so inclined, if you want to teach English for like business purposes, that sort of thing, for corporate like companies, that brings in lots of money. I know somebody who did that for a while, and he was doing that at HSBC. was doing that at HSBC Sri Lanka, and he was doing that like Singapore, like it's really cool. Lot of, yeah. So the corporate trainer, right? That's also another thing. Yeah. But again, would require different sets of qualifications, right? More language qualifications. So that brings me to the next thing, the qualifications. Once you figure out what you want to do, what you're comfortable with, and what you're good at, figure out what kind of qualifications you need. Okay? Google search is a nice place. You can try careers advisory. Honestly, I felt that careers advisory, if you're going to like academic, like English-wise, they didn't have quite the amount of knowledge. I felt, but then I went in 2016. Potentially they could be better now. I'm thinking of sharing this and some other, because I'm continuing to like turn this into a bigger resource to share with the Future Student Center for their recruitment purposes, but also with careers advisory. So yeah, it's about figuring out what kind of things. So now I wanted to teach in higher education, which meant I needed PhD, right? Which means working towards that. And yeah. Okay, I don't know what this is, but I cut that out. I'll edit that later. Okay. Every single time, at least once, there is some kind of typo on mine, and this is how my ADHD manifests. Yeah, when you're neurodivergent and trying to find work, you have to be really, just be really mindful of what sets you off and what kind of like accommodations you need, and if these companies have certain like policies. Yeah, for example, here, I do get accommodations, you know, based on the things that I struggle with, right? So if you can find a place like that, that's wonderful. Otherwise, you can be a trailblazer and yeah, can do that. Activism, it's fine. Do it. Preparation. Okay, so not just like figuring out, okay, what I need to do, but then now, how am I gonna get to it? What skills do I need to do? What activities and what kind of things do I need to prepare, right? So that's like researching the skills I need to develop. So internet is a good starting point. Also, there are other people that you can use as resources. Who can you use as resources very easily here? Point at me. Yes, you can. You can. Also, your module containers, you can ask them. Anybody, like if you have mentors, role models, ask them. Certain parts of Reddit can be helpful. Quora is the better place. You can ask people, and then there's less unhinged people. Reddit, you gotta be careful where you go on Reddit. But like the Reddit, like autism, ADHD spaces are quite nice. So it really depends. Looking at your expressions, I don't know where you've been. Disgusting. Unacceptable. Unacceptable behavior. Probably because of your knife. Okay, so talk to, you know, like mentors, anybody, you know. Yeah, you have a very easy resource here. You have your, well, there's me, and then the other academics. You can always set up a consultation, talk to them about what you plan to do in the future. Yeah, it's totally fine. And maybe if there are people that you admire, like in other countries or whatever, just dip into that. But not in a creepy way. Just like, I admire you so much, and I would like to grow up to be like you. But definitely phrase it better. Yes, exactly. So, huh?
I will drop it nicely. I give you a warning. I will drop it.
Give me a warning. You drop it nicely. I got off of Twitter or X.
We don't deal. We just call it.
No, Twitter, but I'm off Twitter.
Me too.
Yeah. Back in like a few months ago when there was all this, because this entire security team just left, right? They were like, this is not working. There are so many data privacy violations. And I was like, I'm gonna go. As if I have so much data privacy to violate. I don't know honestly what they have, and I don't care to find out.
I'm just there for the art and the porn.
You couldn't stop at the art. This is recorded.
Oh yeah. Oh well.
As it is.
I'm not doing that. That was Edward. Tell him you're not.
No, I'm not.
This is Edward. Okay. Other things that you can do: reaching out to careers advisory services. Okay. I am gonna work on. I think it might be better now. When it comes to English, a lot of the time, people are a bit confused what to, what things. And especially because I went in and I was like, I want to teach. And they were like, yes, here are some postings at schools. And I said, no, absolutely not. I don't want to teach little children. I want to teach teenagers who are moody. You said. Yeah. You say yes, you're not in also, you can email me at this email address. And then, you can reach out to your mentors, any UNS staff members. I'm sure, if they have time, they will be happy to talk to you, right? Anybody you admire, ask them about their careers. Tell them that you want to, what's the worst that could happen? They won't reply. That's it. In which case, you just be like, oh, they're really busy, and this university sends a lot of emails. I guess it just got lost in there. Like a week or something, just send them a follow-up. It's like, just go for it, right? LinkedIn, like you said, wonderful place. Go connect with people. I found the lady Kimberly Mao for who works with the natural language understanding. That's such a big area on there. Found Danny Liu, the person from University of Sydney who does the AI. Did the AI session from there. I don't know these people are like. And they're so lovely. They wanted to help, right? So it's always wonderful to meet people like that. And then you can join student and/or professional groups in areas you're interested in, and then you can see if you enjoy it. For example, like last year I went. Yes.
Doctor, did you arrange the AI talk yourself, or was it the university who arranged it?
Yeah. Okay, so you can join any student professional groups, right? See what works for you. So I'm in crime fiction. That's my main research area, and so I joined the International Crime Fiction Association, and I'm going to their conferences, right? But then I also wanted to try, now I'm trying to move into Gothic studies. That means joining IGA, International Gothic Association, going into their things, right? Go have a look, just join these things. They have student discounts, right? You can prove your studentship. You get a really much cheaper rate. Of course, everything's in pounds and stuff. It's still gonna be, a bit. But it'll be $50, 65, I think. It's not bad. It's not the best. Yeah, I know. But it's for the whole year. So it's not bad. It's worth a try. That's what I'm saying. This is just an example. If you want to go into academia, I'm just giving an example from my life, right? So, for example, I joined this association that works on motherhood scholarship to see if it's for me. Gave it a go, presented 2 papers. It was fun, but it's too much work for me because there's other stuff that I want to. But just putting yourself out there, trying new things, right? Definitely professional organizations. If you identify, for example, you want to go into academia, then if you have a specific area that you want to look at, go join these organizations. Subscribe to their journals. Make them know who you are. Establish your presence.
Where can we find them?
It depends on what you want to do, right? If you want to go into academia,
Yeah.
what kind of field do you want to go into? Undecided. So you have to figure it out first. There are probably, I think there are organizations that have a more general, the literature kind of thing. So you can just Google search, you can find some.
You mean things like the Paris Review or?
Not sure about the Paris Review, because again, my with PhD, you just do this thing. you just narrow down your scope so much. That's all you know.
Yeah.
I know so much about gender studies, right, that area, like masculinities, femininities, and that sort of like, yeah.
Or like, do we just Google these associations?
Start with Googling. Just do it. Sometimes you will find like there'll be people who have blog posts who like they compile lists. Also, places like the Edinburgh University Press, like university presses, like usually they have these journals are often associated with organizations, right? So when you get the subscription to say International Gothic Association, you get a 1 year full access to their journals. Usually these things are tied together, right? So maybe you can start by looking for gender like English language, like, you can look at like global ones. You can look at maybe there's more like Asian stuff, right? Yeah. You can look, and then in the meantime try to identify what kind of things are interesting for you. What kind of research would you like to do, right? Since you have the dissertation DMA coming up, maybe you can base it on your interest, right? So that's what I did. My PhD thesis is based on it's like a large, like expanded topic of my master's dissertation because I really love gender studies and I wanted to do something about crime fiction and gender studies. So just kind of paying attention to what kind of things you like, right? So in my course, you should have like a good idea, like it gives you a good introduction to a bunch of different things you can explore, right? Yeah. Why do I keep looking at just my hairband? Okay. Yeah. So basically, this is it, right? Just one final thing couple final things I want you to remember, which is like finding what's right for you is a process, and that's okay. Like you don't have to know right away, and it's fine. It takes time. You don't have to have all the answers right now. And failing it's just how it is. It's fine. It doesn't define you. It's fine. Just it's part of it, right? I've also I've applied for jobs and never heard back, and that's just part of it. Yeah. Make maximum use of the resources that are available to you. There's people that you can talk to. There's other like careers advisory. Go hit them up. Figure. Yeah, it's fine. And then be kind to yourself because it's really, really important. I know it's a very cheesy thing, but honestly, be kind to yourself. Like if everything's not working out perfectly, that's okay. It's just how it is. Let's stop. You deserve to be kind to yourself. Just okay, yeah, and that's it. That's it. Okay. Please don't. So it's so weird. Okay, and I will edit this, figure out what I meant to put there. Yes. Right. Any? There is no instant here, child. Oh, Sheena. What is this? This is very inappropriate. Yeah. Okay. Something in the chat. Ooh. There have been things here. What is this? This is a different chat. Okay. Anything you want to ask, you can always email me, right? Enakshi.sam. I honestly didn't put that shortened form myself. I think they just got tired of typing my name. This is long. Yeah, and this recording is going to be available here. So I'll send out links for this. I'll upload it onto our YouTube page as well, so you can have a look afterwards. And I'll definitely send the presentation slides. If you have any questions, let me know. You say. Thank you. Who was that? Yeah. Okay. So no more. If you don't have any questions, you can go enjoy your day before, or probably do homework for tomorrow. Yeah. I'm sorry. Someone is typing. Bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming. Hope it was helpful. You're just gonna carry that around. Everybody's left. I want to say hi to Sheena. Sheena's probably. Let me stop this.